We are going live.
Awesome.
Except for not on LinkedIn. All right, so we are now officially live streaming this to both Twitch and Facebook, because those are the only two platforms that would let us stream that, actually. So, yeah, I just posted it on my timeline. That's neat. That's fun.
Oh, nice.
So, I've got all your assets in front of me for your website. Were you able to log in on your end?
To WordPress?
Yeah.
Do that.
Okay. Well, before we get started into the development of the website itself, let's talk about what our goals here are. So, we deployed a new website with the latest version and the 2021 theme, as well as our recommended set of plugins. So these are the same set of plugins that I'm using for a couple of my own sites, which will make it pretty easy to translate over to doing it for you.
Awesome.
So for you, let's go ahead and let's talk about what your goals are for your website that we're putting together today.
Okay, so you just want to know what the website is for?
Yeah, let's just tell me what website we're building today.
Right, so we are building my essentially portfolio website. So just heathersheeler.com. It'll be a hub for all of my, showcase my logo design, my digital art, portraits, any commissions that I have open, and then link out to other projects I'm working on, like the mountain practice that will have its own website. So it's just kind of that central hub where if someone wants to know about me, or if I'm, somewhere where I want to direct someone back to my work, I can send them there and it'll kind of filter them wherever they need to go.
Right, so we're using this as your central landing page to go through and kind of direct people elsewhere within your portfolio, as well as being able to give you a nice place to show off the work that you've already done.
Yep, exactly. Instead of being like, oh, check out my Instagram or my Facebook page and dig through all of this stuff to find the art.
Yeah, it's a lot more professional when you're able to direct people to, the URL that just says like your name, rather than one that's, oh yeah, you have to find me on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. You could just say go here and then connect with me on literally whatever platform that you're actually on. And I think that's part of the fun about having your own domain, is you get that option, as well as having the branded email. That's also a huge plus, in my opinion. So let's get you signed into that new WordPress site, and then we can start looking at where we want to start with this. I think we want to go through and first of all build the base theme for the WordPress site, so that we have kind of the look and feel that you want, as well, of course, the most important part, the fonts that you want to use.
Yes.
'Cause
Or something similar to those fonts that I put in the brand board there. So when I'm logging into WordPress, it's saying I don't have an account, which doesn't make sense because I definitely have one and you just added me. So maybe I'm going to the wrong place.
Are you signing in with your email address?
Mm-hmm. At
Okay.
WordPress.com.
No, it's okay. You've got to go to your new web domain, and we're going to sign in from there. That seems like what our issue is here. So go ahead. Boom. So I just sent that link over to you.
Okay.
That should get you to the right place.
Sorry, where did you send the link?
I sent it to you on Facebook Messenger.
Oh, then my Facebook is being very slow because nothing's coming through yet. I'm sorry. I'm about to switch internet providers. I have had the worst internet recently.
Isn't that the story for every internet provider, though? It's the worst one until you switch, and then they become the worst one.
Yeah, but this is the worst one and also the most expensive one. So at least I can have the worst and cheapest.
At least there's some trade-offs then.
Yeah. Exactly. Boom, I'm in.
Awesome. Okay, so do you want to go ahead and break that out into a new tab, and then we can share that?
Yes. Okay, so I'm just sharing screen on that one.
Yes. And then it will pop up over here, and we can broadcast it, and we can start walking through changing the theme of the site around. So you should just be able to hit the share screen and then select either an application window, which if you moved it to its own window, you can just select the...
I did. I've got it.
Yep, I see it.
Okay.
Boom, there we are.
Great.
Okay, so I think the last time, I think it's been a while since you last used WordPress, and a number of things have changed. Last time that you were building WordPress websites with me, we were using a premium theme called Divi. This time around, we're going to go through and actually build your site using only the built-in WordPress site and some free plugins to extend it a little bit more. So what I've gone through, if you go ahead and click on plugins here, we'll start with that. Yep. Is it loading there? Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah, I told you my internet is slow.
It's fine. It's part of the experience, I suppose. So, okay, if you scroll down a little bit here, I included all of the plugins that we would ever need, and probably more than you actually do. So this is going to give you everything from additional blocks within WordPress when you're creating posts and pages, as well as doing some stuff with SVGs so that when they upload, they get sanitized, SendGrid integration so that we can send emails, and just a number of things that just kind of make the whole process a little bit easier to go through and do. So the first thing that we're probably going to want to start customizing is the theme. And part of the best part of using the WordPress themes is we could use the inbuilt customization tools. So if you go under appearance there, you can actually select customize, and then we can start live changing the view of the site around.
Awesome.
And so we're going to be able to adjust everything from the page title, subtitle, the fonts, colors, background images, everything is all exist within pretty much this one little control panel. And part of the plugins that we installed offer additional settings to customize the header as well as the footer inside the website. So right now it's just going to load up, and it's pretty much just your blank. It's got some sample content in there with the header, some images laid out, so that as we're going through and making the adjustments, we can kind of see how every little aspect of it's going to change.
Okay.
So just starting on the left and working our way down, we'll go with the site identity here. And so the site title and tagline, of course, was the easiest one to go through and change.
So I'm just changing them to Heather Sheeler.
Yep.
Is that
and then
right?
and then whatever you want your tagline there to be.
I don't have a tagline because the original site I had designed just has Heather Sheeler all the way along the top, and then the menu directly under it. So I wanted it to.
Yeah, so typically when you're doing a portfolio website, your tagline is oftentimes just a brief description of what it is that you're doing. So, author, artist, writer, some of those things and it's important because it does show up on every page. So that tagline there is actually kind of a little bit part of the SEO, but it's not necessarily something that we have to display inside the header, but it is helpful to bring the search engines to your site because it does give you that option to have that little text box in there.
Okay.
Let's
I didn't think I'd have to come up with stuff on the spot.
I mean, we can just you can certainly just leave the tagline blank right now, and there's an option slightly
Let's
below
do that
there
for now.
that you can hide the tagline, and you can always circle back there and make the changes. That's the best part about WordPress in particular is you don't have to go through and set up and worry about it for just this one time, because you can make changes later on. So if you don't like something, tomorrow, you can go back through and change it. It's not like it's set in stone. So I think there's a few things that we're going to probably have to skip over and come back with a task list of going through, okay, we need to add this and just come up with more content here. So you can continue to scroll down here. I think that's pretty much it, unless you have a logo that you'd rather use instead of the text for your name.
Nope.
Okay, so go ahead and click publish on that, so we'll apply it. So we got a question in the chat room where somebody's asking is, do you find web pages look more aesthetically pleasing with a static background or a scrolling background? And I think personally that really depends on the use case. Different style websites, it works better. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense for the web background to be scrolling with the page. Other times it absolutely does. It can be styled really well or pretty poorly. Just it depends on the situation. So I guess it really depends on kind of what the end of the goal of the project. So Heather, you can still, we're waiting for that to apply, aren't we? And then
yeah, it's still, I'm sorry,
no, don't apologize. This is interesting because we're seeing how it kind of is interacting within the editor and making sure everything kind of works well. So we can exit. We can click the back arrow out of the site identity and keep going through the customizations for the theme here, which the all-important customizations for the colors. Now, one of the things that I did find, which is really neat with this theme and version of WordPress, is if you design your site with a light background, it will actually give you an option for dark mode. And if a mobile device or a compatible browser connects to it, and the user has specified that they like dark mode or they're using a dark mode theme, your website will automatically apply and adapt to that dark mode. So it will change the text to white, change your background color to what you specify. So you can actually enable the dark mode within the WordPress customizations within the theme. I believe it's at the very bottom of that option dialog. Yeah, so dark mode support, if you just check that box there and design the site with the lighter colors, it will automatically produce a dark mode version, and you can further customize that within the themes options as well.
Awesome. Do I need to check that now, or are you just letting me know?
I'm just letting you know that it exists. Yeah, you can enable it now, or it's if you want to just have that one color scheme and only worry about those one colors for now, we can just leave that unchecked.
Yeah, so, I just want to stick with the one for now, but we'll see. I think I'd need to redesign some icons to match with the dark theme.
That's why it's optional, because not everybody's going to want to necessarily have that enabled.
Oh, let me pull up I've got all my hex codes saved for the colors. I just need to open it up. Okay.
And one of the previous conversations that we were having, we actually talked about branding guidelines. And so when you're building out a website like this, it's handy to know, like you're doing right now, what those hex colors are ahead of time. So if you're working with a customer or a client and you can produce the branding guidelines of the fonts, the icons, and the colors that you want to be using, it makes this process, as you can see, pretty quick, as just applying the existing color patterns that you know you're going to be using for the branding. So
buttons. I don't think I'm going to use buttons. I designed my buttons as individual.
Yeah, like there are always options are there for you to come back later if we want to adjust them. So right now we're just trying to get the base of your color scheme and branding applied and the right colors and fonts, and then we'll go through and building the customized pages for the rest of the site.
Okay. So now if I wanted something like all of the titles I want to be this sort of salmon color, and then the text in like the big text boxes, or the menu would be that dark brown. So how do I get like this guy to be pink?
I'll show you. So go ahead and publish the changes here, and we're gonna use one of the plugins that's installed called Twintig. Go ahead and hit the back arrow, and if we scroll down a little bit, you'll see the that one there, Twintig options. And this is going to give you even more options. So if you click on header, footer, and page, these are specifically going to apply to the options at the very top and very bottom of the page. Now, if you go back one and we go into fonts, second one here, I believe this is what's going to allow us to adjust the colors as well, or is it just the font heading styles?
I'm not seeing any colors.
Yeah. I'm still getting wrapped around the 2021 and the new versions of WordPress and how everything's are laid out. So my muscle memory is not quite what it has been in the past here. So
no worries.
I know I did see that option when I was playing around with this earlier. So if nothing else, we do have some custom CSS that we can apply to the page to make it do whatever it is that we want. Okay, so looking through here, I think what we are looking for going to be buried. So let's go ahead, and I would say we should work on getting your font pairings correct, because I know you have a particular set. We can see if they're already here or if we're going to have to adjust that a little bit.
Okay. Also, I'm happy to go with something that is close to the fonts on my my brand board for now, and then download the exact fonts later.
Yeah, I mean,
look down.
That's a great starting point. We can get in there and set it up and import the custom fonts if necessary later.
Okay.
So it looks like we may need to apply some custom CSS to do the particular stylings on the headings that you want to do, but we'll circle back to that here. So okay. First of all, let's make sure that we get the background of the body and the text colors correct, and then we'll start laying things out and adjusting the fonts and colors further from there.
Okay, so am I going back into...
Let's go to colors in dark mode and just make sure everything in there for your body and your font colors are correct. So you've got your header, link text, footer text, and body text within there.
Let's see.
So if we start with the header there, you can adjust the background color of that whole menu appearance.
Okay, let me this back up. Oh, boom. That was it. What links do I have?
Those are going to be the home, the about, the blog, and the contact in the top right hand corner there.
Okay. Oh.
Getting back to, let's see. So now for the footer widgets, you're going to have to scroll down to see those apply here. I'll show you what it's talking about there. So at the very... so that's your footer dialog, and we'll edit that in the twintig options. But if you scroll up just a little bit more, where you see categories, meta, archives, the search box, and recent posts, that's what it means by footer widgets. So you can specify the color background individually for that, the text color, and the link color there.
Okay, so if I don't want any of those to exist,
Go ahead and I'll show you how to do that. We just have to remove them as widgets. So
okay.
Publish this, and then if we go back to the main customization menu here, you can actually edit the widgets from within there. So, and then click on the footer. So those are all the widgets that it's added out of the box when you do a default just bare bones WordPress install. So anything that you don't want there, just go ahead and remove, and let's clean up that section here. Now, I do find that if you are unhappy with the theme's layouts for the footer menu, you can use the footer in place of the you can use the footer widgets in place of the theme's built-in footer, and replicate your own footer setup inside there. So right now we've removed the widgets, and so the second area that you see at the bottom is actually defined as the WordPress footer area. Now, there's a few options that you can do by default to adjust the style on that, but if you're not happy with anything, we can also lay it out with using the widgets that we just removed. Okay. So, publish our changes, and let's just finish up these footer changes here. So, let's go back to the main customization menu, and now we're going to go back into twintig. Okay, and footer. So go ahead and there's a couple drop downs under the footer layout, and this will give you some predefined layouts on just easy ways to make that kind of appear. So if you want to just play with that and see if you like any of the different options that are there, should render an update pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, this is the one I want.
Easy. Okay, great. So if you scroll down a little bit more, we should have you have the option to convert the menu social links into social icons. So you can either have it say Facebook, Twitter, or have those as the icons.
Oh, I love them as the icons. That's it's so neat and tidy.
Makes it easy.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so within the footer settings, we go ahead and publish those because we're all set there. And then the spot that we're going to have to spend some time in is actually going to be this font section here. So they have some, if you click at the very top there, they have some preset pairings that you can pick from. And if you don't like those, they have a ton more fonts. It looks like it's loading the Google font library. So anything that's available through there, we should be able to use. If
Josephine Sand should be, because I've seen that on everything. Oh, sweet. This one can stand in for my title font that I had. Catamaran, I think, is what I was using. So I can do that, and then yes. All right. Body font, Josephine Sands. It's so pretty. And then headings can be fonts. Hey, I saw it earlier. It showed up in the top thing.
Should be there.
Oh, maybe I was spelling it. Maybe I had a typo. Let me try it one more time. I think I swapped the S and the T in my head. Come on. There we go. Yep.
M-O-N-T. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, another question is, can you redesign the, looks like, I think the social icons? The answer to that is if you wanted to change the icons that are built in, you may be able to customize them with some CSS, but if you want to kind of do anything outside of what's built in for the pre-made layouts, it's much easier to just replicate it using the footer widgets and adjusting the background for there to apply. You can also create your own custom block and import that, but as far as ease of use for what we're trying to accomplish today, we're going to use the default icons because they styled the way that we were hoping for.
Yeah, they're perfect.
Perfect. Okay, so we've got your fonts and your colors, it seems. Do we have the sizing on everything to your liking?
Well, I can't find anything that is showing up as a title. Everything is in Josephine's hands. So I can't tell how it is.
That title font should be the create your website with blocks. That should be adjusting and applying the title settings. Well, go ahead and hit publish.
Headings are different.
Yeah, go ahead and hit publish and see if it just needs a refresh on getting those settings.
Yeah, it's still showing up as Josephine. Would this be a heading, or am I looking for something?
That's the title. It should be the title font.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening anywhere.
Well, let's adjust the headings font and make sure that.
Let's try extra bold, see if that does it.
There we go. So it's applying that as a header there.
Yeah, and then I'd have to change everything, retype it all in all caps because that's what I liked about Catamaran. So I can do that later.
I think there was. If you wanted to, we could probably go through and adjust find a font that just has uppercase by default.
It's fine. I can always fix it later.
Exactly, that's the spirit. Part of what I love about using WordPress is the ability to go through and see the updates in real time. It makes developing sites from the ground up a lot easier, especially when you're able to just see what's happening, see the responsiveness, and see those changes occur. And that's part of what makes it such a appealing platform. I mean, one of the things that I think is really neat is WordPress itself powers over 33% of the internet, from everything from recipe websites all the way to government agencies, and some social media applications get built entirely on it as well. Which, you know what, that's a very, very interesting use case for WordPress.
Yeah. All right. I like that I can mess with the kerning on this too. The letter spacing is. I always like stretching it out.
Yeah, pairing the 2021 theme with the TwinTig plugin just unlocked so much more of that customization just out of the box and put it into the default customization menu. Just it simplifies so many things and just gives you almost complete control over everything, and it's such an easy to use interface.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Okay, so what am I up to now? Am I just publishing and going back to what we were up to before?
I think so. We've got fonts done, colors done. Did we need to adjust the background, or did we?
Nope, I adjusted the background is this color. It's going to have an image in the back that's locked in place for all of the web pages, but we'll do that when we do that.
Well, we can do that real quick. If you go back to the main page here, there's the option for the background image.
Oh, I was looking for it. My mouse is already on it.
So let's go ahead and select the image and see if we can get it to apply the first time exactly how we want. And if not, we may have to spec out what we want to adjust it as and utilize some custom CSS to get that applied to the body.
All right, so it should be this one. What? No items found.
Did you? Oh, I haven't uploaded anything.
No, but I just grabbed it from my computer.
Post-processing. It's not. What size is your image there? It's saying that it may be too large.
It's probably giant. I like making big images. Let me see.
It needs to be less than 2500 pixels.
Let me pull it up here.
Oof. It's part of the learning experience is getting all of the the images sized correctly here.
It's 1647 pixels by 3785 pixels.
Okay. So a couple of things when it comes to images. If we can predict what size the final output that we want is going to be, that's all the better. But since this is our background image, we want to go through and make sure that it's sizing and scaling correctly to everything. So at most, we're pretty much going to be designing for most traditional use cases, and the maximum size that we're really going to be focusing on is for desktops. And so that scales out to being about 1920 by 1080 for most standardized resolutions.
Okay.
When you size and have your background kind of set up as that, you're fine. You can go with a larger one. It's just make sure that we're doing a high enough compression that since we are loading this on the first point of your page, we don't want it to be the thing that slows down the whole site.
Okay. So what do I need to do on my iPad here to fix this image to make it uploadable?
Okay, well, let's take a look here. Inside of the folder that you shared with me, which where is the one that we're trying to use here?
It's in the subfolder web assets and it's Heather_1.
Okay, let's see.
I figured since my name's Heather and it's a plant, I'm just going to use illustrations of Heather to make it a pretty website. Take advantage of that.
That works. Okay, let's take a look here. So we have another question here. For web, we want smaller, more compressed images for speed. Yes, you do want to try to minimize the size of your website as much as possible. The larger your assets are, the longer it's going to take them to load into your browser.
Okay.
So if we're looking at, in particular, the Heather1 image, let's see, image size. I'm looking at this in Photoshop, and your height is astronomically large. It's over 3,000 pixels, which our default settings don't allow more than 2,500. So we need to, first of all, I probably should share the Photoshop screen I'm looking at over here. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I'm used to designing for things to be printed on shirts and stuff, so, and like random products. And I just have all of my standard canvas sizes set a bit bigger.
Okay, so we're swapping that out. So now we're looking at our background image that we want to work with. So when we were uploading this, WordPress was complaining specifically about this value here. It's much too large. The other problem that we're going to run into with this particular file, if we were to use it as is, we would run into an issue with load times. This image, as it standalone, is over 5 megabytes on itself. Our target goal for initial load for our size of our page is under 2 megabytes. That's kind of like the rule of thumb. If your homepage and your landing page and all your assets come in under 2 megabytes, you're typically going to have no issues with it loading, load bandwidth, or kind of similar situations. So I'm going to adjust this down to 1785 by 777, and we're going to start with that. I should stop sharing my screen. So we're going to switch back over here. So add that back to your stream. So I'm going to export this and get this uploaded to the web page for you, and then we'll be able to try to embed this as the background image here.
Awesome.
All right, we're going to go smallest. Let's see if I can press that down enough for it to be acceptable here. Saving, and it's compressing. And I lost the tab that I needed. All
Oh
right.
no. Control
Well, I'm
Shift
just.
T.
Well, that's not the problem. It's in a separate window. So,
Mm.
okay.
Lost.
I found it. I found it. Okay. So, switching back over here, I have your website opened up here, and let's go into the media library now. Add new, and this isn't perfect, but still giving me an error. It's not supposed to give me an error. I made it smaller, like it said.
It's because we're doing it live.
Of course, of course, it's always the case. Let's just check. Aha, that's our issue. It does not like it when we go through and tell it to upload an image from a secure link, and we ourselves are not using a secure link for the website. So give me just a second here while I re-sign in, and you're gonna also have to re-sign in on your site as well, because it's gonna kick you out because I just changed the links from.
Ooh.
Log back in.
So, am I just going to like taking out that part and refreshing it, or if I just refresh the whole thing, will it bring me back to my?
Yeah, if you just refresh the page, it will let you back in. So let's. Now it should allow us to easily go through and upload that background image now. Yeah,
Sorry.
it's going now. Maybe. Alright, I have a slightly smaller image, and we'll try this guy and make sure that that's working. Okay, so this dumpster fire of 2020 loaded in just fine, but we're still getting issues with this PNG file. It could be. It's very possible, but I don't think. It's very possible that there's a compression plugin that is trying to further make that image smaller for us and is causing our issues here. Let's figure this out, shall we? So we want that Heather1 image to be your background here.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to get it uploaded.
Make it sound so easy.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be easy, but for some reason you had to go through and make an image that is challenging.
Sorry.
How did you create this image?
Yeah, I drew it in Procreate.
Okay, drew it in Procreate. So do you have just the PNG file?
That is just the PNG file.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try this here. We're gonna bring your screen back over here.
Okay.
We're gonna come back to the background image while I get it compressed and
Yep.
formatted in a way that WordPress is gonna be happy with us today.
Okay, move on to something else.
Moving on. So let's go ahead and go back to the main admin portal, and we can start constructing the layout for your homepage. I think that's.
Do I get back to that just by exiting out here?
Yeah, just go ahead and click the X there.
Man, it's been so long since I've used WordPress.
And then click on pages from the left-hand bar there. And then, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and just add a new page here.
Okay. It's thinking about it.
And okay.
In 3 years, we'll get to make a new page.
You already logged in again, correct?
I did.
Great. Okay, so it shouldn't Okay, there we go. Just your internet had to think and process all of loading everything. So go ahead and close the block information there.
It also has to think about that. All right.
Okay, so this is going to be your home page. So your name can just literally be exactly that, just your name.
My
just yeah, just your actual name, because this is going to be the home page for your site. And so let's start with that. And like we've talked about before, we can adjust it if we don't like it.
Mhm.
Okay, SVG export. Okay, and so you sent me at one point a screenshot of how you had laid this out previously.
Yeah, so it had Heather Sheeler across the top in that sort of salmony pink orange, and then a really small, simple menu under it.
Okay.
And then below that, the welcome image of me holding a pomegranate and wine. Sounds stupid when I say it out loud. A piece of art that I drew, and then some dictionary definitions of Heather and Sheeler.
So let's start adding that content back in there with the block tool. Go ahead.
How do I get this to stretch along the top? It's too big.
Well, this is just what it's going to look like in the preview, or look like in the editor. If you click on, at the top there, you see the preview button. If you highlight over that and click on preview and new tab, this is how the page will actually be presented once you save it and it is ready to be posted and viewed from the internet. There we go. So now we run into the issue. Exactly. So, you should be able to just leave the title blank. There's got to be a way that we could turn that off here. Hold on. There's always a way. Okay. Let me get to... So if we go back to the add new page section, I think we might need to change the page template so that it doesn't apply the default settings.
Where do I find that?
Let's see. It should be under the settings there, page attributes.
Are you doing this on your end?
Yeah, I'm checking it. So if you scroll down here, I found it. Right under page attributes, that drop down there. Okay, so under template, you have additional options in that drop down menu.
Okay.
It's not showing on the screen here. So if you click down where it says default template, it'll give you a drop down menu.
Yeah, I've got it.
Select Twintig, no title, transparent, etc.
So which one is going to know?
So go ahead and click preview again, or refresh. So yeah, and then I think we can just refresh that other tab that you have open already.
Okay. I've already clicked the thing. Let's see.
And now that, if all goes well, that title text should just disappear once it successfully loads. Assuming it actually saved for the preview link to work correctly, which...
It did nothing. It made it slightly smaller. What about transparent header?
No, that should have done it. The no title should have done it. I think it just, the preview didn't save. Yeah, go ahead and close the tab. I was wrong. Close the tab, generate a new preview, open a new tab, and it should work now.
Okay.
So we're forcing it to reopen and generate that new preview fresh this time.
Cool.
There we go. Now we have a blank starting place. So
And so then
close
I'll
it.
just need to make this huge and across the top and not have an underline.
Yeah, so we would actually be in that menu we were in earlier, the customization inside of the theme. We would adjust the header for that, and we can make that laid out how you want.
Cool.
So this is the page that you're on now. We're working on putting just the content and laying it out for the home page, and we can go back through and edit the header so that it's got that enlarged text like you've described.
Okay. So then do I just delete this
Nope,
huge Heather Sheeler because it doesn't matter? Or
just ignore it and scroll down.
okay. So what am I
Because
doing now?
so you see where it says start writing or choose block.
Okay.
So go ahead and click add block here. And this is the biggest change about WordPress is these blocks. So click browse all. So it's gonna at the bottom there. It will open a sidebar here. So WordPress blocks give you a lot of options. So they give you everything from your standard text to embedding YouTube videos and page layouts and everything in between. So one of the things that is super powerful about this is there's a section called design that lists basically columns. So every time you add a block, it is essentially equivalent to adding like a CSS row. And so when you add a column, so if you scroll down just a little bit, Heather, on your end here, you should be able to see
There we go.
design. Yep, there you go. So the columns on there, go ahead and click on add a column block here. Just click on it and it will put it into the page here. So when you're designing your pages and you're laying your content out, this is going to be one of the most useful blocks for you because these column options are going to allow you to do so much as far as like, oh, okay, I want the image here or just the text here. And just that format, you're accomplishing for most customers the majority of what you're going to need to lay it out as far as having like a menu item or a list of items and have it squashed down properly on the different sizing. So I'm not sure how you want to lay it out if we want to use columns at the moment.
All of my stuff is basically one column. It's just centered. The only thing that might have two columns is there's a page where I have 4 different sort of like icon buttons for the different parts of my portfolio, and they're in a square, so 2 columns
There you go.
theoretically.
Well, it makes it even easier. But in the case you do end up needing the columns, they are there and available.
That's cool.
So those blocks have a lot of usage, and it's what has changed WordPress, the editor in itself, and has made it from just being a basic text editor that you had to have a lot of third-party plugins just to get to this level of functionality to having it natively built into WordPress, which every time that you add any sort of plugin or additional theme into your WordPress site, you're adding, additional risk and possibilities for something to go wrong. So having everything natively aligned within WordPress and as close to that first vendor as possible keeps it kind of secure and mostly updated and current. I think it's the biggest
Awesome.
change that I like about the newest version of WordPress here. So you can delete that block now if you hit the 3-dot menu there. You can just remove it. You can also drag and reorder blocks within the page too. So it's a very, very visual sort of editor.
Nice. Okay, so am I adding in a block for the image, the welcome image?
Yeah,
Which will actually probably be too big.
So it sounds like we're gonna have to start resizing all of your images ahead of time.
Sorry. I didn't know.
It's not a problem. It's part of what we've got to figure out, and part of all of this is just getting the workflows so that you know what you need to sort of process ahead of time.
Mhm.
Okay, so which I've got that background image finally uploaded here. I was able to get
Yay!
happy. Go ahead and let's start with you have the content for this page, right?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and just update the content of the page. and then we'll do the images next.
Okay. So I'm just making a block that's text?
Is it a
Or
heading text or is it paragraph text? What kind
um
of text is it? There's so many types of text that we can use and so many possibilities.
oh my god, so much power. So the page is Heather Sheeler at the top, the menu stretched out under it, and then below that the welcome image, and below that is just a little tiny block that is the dictionary definition of Heather, and then um the name origin of Sheeler.
Let's
So
get it on
both done
there.
like little. So how do I? Where do I? What do I?
Well, let's just start by adding a paragraph text block, and then we can change that to format whatever we need. So paragraph, and then just go ahead and paste in the text.
Okay, let me go grab that. Oh boy, it spaced everything out. Ew, what's happening?
Did you copy this from like a Word document?
Just that Google Doc that I had pasted that I'd copied all of my text to.
Yeah, so when you're actually seeing that in the Google Doc, you're actually seeing HTML code. So when you copy and paste it, it's trying to translate that as closely as possible to the source material, which is Google Docs, which is not necessarily what you want to do. There's another option. If you do Control
I can
Shift,
paste it into a Notepad document and wipe the formatting. Would that work?
exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say.
I always have a Notepad open because I do this so much, moving things around. I'm like, oh, it's coming in bold. I don't want it to be bold. Okay.
You can also use Control Shift V, and it should paste it unformatted as well.
Ooh. Cool. I didn't know that. I love stuff like that. Okay. And then I think I had these in that font in Catamaran, which would be Montserrat. I don't know how to pronounce it. I've only ever read it. But Heather and Sheeler were going to be in a different font.
Okay.
We'll have different font options. And it's also not important. I can fix it later.
So here's something that is what makes WordPress super kind of hackable here. You can actually edit that block text as HTML and apply custom styling. So we could even create a custom CSS class that holds that font information and the stylization and create it as, say, stylize it with this font. Anywhere that you want to go through and use it, we can just go in there, edit the HTML, make that a change.
Okay.
So.
Cool. There's a child who shares the wall with my living room, and sometimes he just kicks the wall. I hope it's not going to be an entire thing. Sometimes it only happens once. Sometimes it's like an hour of that. So.
Oh my goodness, that sounds like a phenomenal place to be.
So fun. So fun. I love it.
Oh. Okay, now which image did you want to have on there, and I can get that.
It is. It's in that same subfolder, and it is the drawing of me holding the wine and the pomegranate. It says "Welcome" along it.
Okay, let's take a look here. Open this guy. Once again, another extremely large image.
I'm sorry.
One of the things that I have definitely done in the past for other customers is we've gone through and either utilized a third-party service or just made it part of the workflow where the images get compressed and resized before they get uploaded as part of like an automated job. Now, you mentioned that you were saving this from your iPad. You're exporting it from Procreate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's because it's not vector art. I always make things bigger because I can size it down, but I cannot size things up. So I play it safe.
That's fair. Like like you said, scaling it down is definitely preferable to having to go the other way.
I've had to redraw something before because it wasn't big enough for whatever I needed it printed on. And now I'm like, absolutely not. Never again.
Do you have any plans to do more along the lines of the vector art, just so that you don't have to keep redrawing, or?
I need to find a good vector program for my iPad. I had Illustrator on my computer, but having to pay like $20 a month to have it was nonsense. So I do not have that anymore.
But was it the one that was able to work the best for you? Because I think that they also have some of these applications coming onto iPad now as well, so you can do vector style drawings from your tablet itself.
Yeah, I need to do that. I don't know a whole lot about Apple products, so I'm not as familiar. I did download Inkscape that I've been trying to learn on my PC, but the things about it that are slightly different from Illustrator are very confusing because I didn't realize how much is just like sort of muscle memory when I was doing it. And even though they're the same tools, essentially, because I'm having to use them differently, I'm like, everything takes me a million years, and then I get very angry.
I feel that one. I have been using Adobe products since I learned in high school
that's what I always used.
How to do everything, and so like that muscle memory, those shortcuts, and you know both GIMP and as well as Inkscape have done a phenomenal job of being able to be mostly feature compatible. But like you said, it is just different enough that muscle memory catches up with you, and it gets frustrating. And you can get over that learning curve and eventually dive in there and get through that step and really master those programs. But there is a learning curve. But once you get over it, like you've got free software you don't ever have to pay for.
Yeah, which I know. Like once I have time, I will sit down and learn it. I did watch a lot of YouTube videos on it. I just miss the days when you could buy Photoshop and Illustrator and just have them for one giant cost, but at least that was it and you were done.
Okay. So let's see. I've got that welcome image for you.
Okay.
I got it nicely exported and sized down to a reasonable web format for you.
Okay. So what do I do now?
So just like you added the text, we can add an image. So scroll down just a little bit, and then highlight kind of right at the bottom of the text there, and you'll get a new box.
I'm trying. I'm clicking, and nothing's happening.
Okay, no problem.
It just keeps jumping me back up to the top.
Okay, that's not a problem. What you can actually do is the same three-dot menu that we used to remove the block, we can actually utilize it to insert block. So right above there. Yeah. Looks like there's keyboard shortcuts as well, but that's on you if you're ready for that. So now
my iPad thought I was talking to it just now, and it went, mm-hmm. And scared the crap out of me.
I've definitely had that happen a lot with Siri just popping up, being like, "Oh, hey, you wanted to ask me a question." It's just like I actually did not. Please go away now.
Okay, so adding
image is what we're doing. You can just type it in the search block up there.
No, of course. And I still have my caps on.
I'm very bad about going through and trying to force myself to find out where everything's laid out and like not believing that the search is going to work.
Like that dumpster fire.
How to use the test image. I knew that one was going to work.
Yeah. Okay. So then if I want to scale it down, do I have drag?
If you scroll down just a little bit, I think your browser window is just a tad small, but you can do it right on the page here.
Is it with this?
You see that little, yeah, there you go.
Cool.
You have a small screen there. Now, in that same
block, it's my little teeny laptop.
Gotta get you an external monitor or something.
I have one, but this laptop doesn't have an HDMI port. Like, there's no way for me to actually attach my external.
Does it have USB-C?
It has USB. It's very simple. It's just a little tiny Asus that I got purely for writing. So
Is that the same one that you had? How long have you had that one?
not when you guys lived in Humboldt. I had the Google Chromebook at writing group. That's what I used back then. But no, I got this for grad school because I needed to be able to write a lot.
Well, it sounds like it served its purpose well for that, and now you're trying to do something a little bit more with it, and so, well,
Yeah.
running into that. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world. We're making it work. We're getting things sized down correctly. It's just finding
How do I get
little
this
tweaks.
centered on the page?
So there's a couple of ways there. At the top of the block editor, you see that middle one that kind of looks like 3 bars. Yeah.
Oh,
So that's going to be your whole alignment.
cool.
Unfortunately, I think we just have center, left, and right. No chaotic neutrals or lawful good.
Okay. And then how do I get this to be narrower? I don't want the text to be, I want the text to be really small, and it's not like the point of the page. I just felt like I needed to have something written on the page, and I thought this would be funny.
So this is when you use a column.
Okay.
Because you can adjust the spacing on either side of the column and have that center and size how you want. So like we did before, you add the column, so insert before, and you'll be able to just drag that paragraph text into the column block once you've created it.
Nice. Oh, cool. It's one of the quick ones here.
It's because you've recently used it, so it starts predicting what you want to use here.
And how do I grab this to drag? Is it this guy?
Yeah.
Haha.
First try. Not quite.
Nope. Oh, man. I hate Suddenlink so much. Everything is slow and laggy. Okay. And then how do I scooch it?
That's something we're going to figure out together. So you did the 3333. There was another option here where, let's see, can you change the column type while you're there? Looks like you can. Aha. So if you click the gear icon on the top right-hand corner of your page, it's going to open up some additional options for the block.
Okay.
And in particular, click on the TW at the top there for twintig. What the heck? Are you clicked on the... Oh, I see. You're on the paragraph block. So you need to click back a little bit. So there we go. Now go back to the gear.
Okay.
Does it not show?
And then width. Am I just putting in a random?
Okay, so you're adjusting the left one. That's what we wanted, though. So if you click on the center block, we might have to undo your moving of the text there if it doesn't automatically, if it starts selecting, yeah. You might have to move the paragraph back out and then adjust the column size and then back in just so.
Oh my gosh.
There it is. There we go.
Okay. Oh, come on. Internet, you can do it. Oh, how do I select that column without it trying to do what it's doing? Like when I click on it.
You got to click on slightly below it. So when you mount there you go. Perfect. Yeah. It's hard. That's actually something that's kind of hard to explain. Like when you mouse over it, it kind of gives you a little bit of a box, and there's like 3 or 4 pixels right at the bottom that are just empty that you can click on. That gives
a little handle.
Little handle. Okay, so adjust the width of that. That should be for the center box this time. So
yeah,
it's at 33% right now.
Okay. Let's see what 60 looks like. See, I wish I could have the text in there so I could see how it's actually sitting. Let's do that. Okay. I'm going to drag it back in.
The more that you do the more that you go through and you do this, the easier it becomes. So
that looks fine.
Okay, let's close that preview tab that you have, and then open it again and see if open the preview again. I mean, not the same tab, and let's.
I knew what you meant. Don't worry.
And it's generating our preview. Bam.
Cool. And then I just want this font to all be a lot smaller and fainter.
Just for this page or for?
Just for this page.
Okay, so we're going to have to make some adjustments on that possibly so that we can apply some custom styling.
Okay. We can also do that later. Like, we can move on to the other pages. I'm just letting you know the...
Let's go back to the customization settings for the main theme, because we were talking about... So go ahead and publish this page. Yeah. Boom. Okay, page published. Now it's live. So let's set this as the home page, because that's what we want to do, and then we'll go back into the customizing the appearancing. Can't talk now. Then we'll go back to customizing the theme appearance and adjust the header and the footer, and go from there. So click on the WordPress icon at the top left hand corner. That's going to take us back to the admin dashboard.
Okay.
And then if we go to settings on the left, and then where you want to go to general, I think I regret saying that. I'm pretty sure that we actually needed, we need to go to reading, not general. We need to go to reading and change the main homepage. Right now it should be, create your website with blocks, which is what it does when you first customize the theme. If you have nothing, it just fills in that static content. And don't forget to save at the bottom. Save. All right, and while we're here, one other change that we're going to make. Are you going to be using your site for any sort of like blogging or just regular posts, or?
Not this one. I'm going to use one of the websites that it points to do blogging eventually, but this is more just kind of a static, like, here's my stuff and here's where you can go get more of it.
So one change that we're going to want to make either way then is inside the same settings, we want to scroll down to permalinks. Okay. And so this is how it's going to currently appear. I don't like the default settings that they give you for WordPress, which is just plain. So I always go with personal, either post name or the month and name or something along those lines. The month and name is what I normally use for sort of blog sites, and the post name is just what I'm using for normally informational websites. Typically, you don't have a lot going to the blog, and when you do, you often want that page post name as your link. So
okay,
save that. And now we'll go back to customizing our theme.
Okay, so
Appearance and customize.
Customize loading.
Oh, gee, thanks, YouTube.
I am not watching the chat at all because I'm over here. What's...
Oh, no, YouTube finally authorized
YouTube.
me live.
I thought you said you too, and I was like, what?
YouTube has entered the chat.
Cool, YouTube, thanks. Okay. So then...
Okay. Let's see if we can get that background image to do what we want. Or if we're going to need to do some more work on that.
Okay, so I want it to be over to the left.
Scroll down here on the left side.
Oh my god, it's tiling.
Yeah, let's go ahead and fix that tiling. So you have some presets on the image position, what you do as far as image repeating, etc. So yeah.
And then I want it to lock in place. Oh. How do I... Okay, I chose custom. How do I then customize it?
If you want it to stay in place, you're going to want to select the option that says scroll with page. You want your preset to be you want it to fill the whole size of the page, right?
Well, so all of my pages, I don't have scrolling. I wanted to have a website where each of the pages is just perfectly contained in the size of a screen, the relative size of a screen. Like, I know it's going to be on different stuff, but because everything, like each page is just a very simple, like my gallery for each of the sections of my portfolio is just a scrolling side to side gallery. Because I liked the idea that this heather plant could be, you know, kind of top to bottom on the screen, footer below it, and then that's going to be the same on every screen, and you're not having to scroll.
So, okay, so the two changes that we want to make is in the preset. Let's get the preset set to fit to page or screen. Does that kind of present how you want it?
Yeah, it's still, I don't know, maybe it's fine that it locks. I had imagined it sort of just staying with any, like if there is scrolling, it would move with things, but I also didn't visualize.
Yeah, sure. Go back to the preset. So right now we have it set to fit to screen. Pull down the drop down options and let's play with that a little bit here.
I did.
It's a little laggy on my end, so it's not showing some of these things apparently. So we fit to screen is the first option. So just go through and select the other ones as well, and we can adjust the positioning of that image. So we have fill screen, and then a few other options to select from here. So customize.
Yeah, I don't know what. I mean, I click custom and then it doesn't give me any additional options to customize it, so I'm not sure what it's.
So, first of all, let's uncheck the repeat background image so that we only get it once, and now it's scrolling with the page.
That's much nicer, yeah.
And you can adjust the image size too.
Okay, how do I? Where's the image?
It says it right there where it says image size.
Oh, there we go. My goodness. It's bedtime. 6:15. Boy, I'm ready. Yeah, I can't get it smaller without it.
I can shrink it down if you want me to. Or
we can mess with it later.
Hey, this is coming along. This is starting to look pretty great. So let's publish the changes. And then if we... So now if you just click the X there, it will load just the site. Okay, I lied. So top left-hand corner, if you highlight over the home icon in your name, you can click Visit Site. And then it's going to load your home page. Boom.
Sweet. It's getting there.
So you mentioned the size. You mentioned earlier the header. We want to go through and make some changes on that, increasing the size and stacking the layout. Okay, so click Customize, again, gonna go to theme options or customize a theme. And then we're going to make the header changes within the twin tick options this time.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, so you have the header layout. I think you want that to be probably stacked.
Stack center. Boom. All right.
Is that more or less what we want?
Yes. Oh,
No.
man. I was hoping full would stretch it across the screen.
If you, so we'll still need to adjust the fonts on that, but if you were using like a background image or one of the other layouts, so if you change the header layout to like left menu or centered menu, for instance, and then you change the header width to full, you'll kind of see how that applies. But when you're using the stacked center layouts, it's keeping things center so that like full screen stretch doesn't really apply the same way, unfortunately. But one other thing I do want to point out, if you scroll down just a little bit here, I think it was within here. So additional elements. There's one thing that I thought was really cool here. You can convert the social links into social icons as your menu, as well as this second option in there, which I thought was really cool, where check that for me, the convert last menu item into a button. So does it do it on this layout? Yeah, okay. Doesn't look so good on your stacked layout, but if you look at the webdev.live website, I actually went with the button for the contact. So I'm using a full page stretch header layout on that site, and you can kind of see the difference here. Actually,
Oh, yeah, that looks nice.
let me just screen share that guy over here real quick. And I'm really bad at this. Okay, so yeah, so that button shows up really great in some of these header layouts, but with your stacked header, not so much on your menu. But I thought it presented really, really well in that button format with that last link. I just thought that was a really cool option that I hadn't seen before in any sort of WordPress patch.
It's slick.
So switching back over here, so that's optional, but that's where your button styling will get applied. You said you weren't using buttons before, and there's a way you could use a button if you wanted to.
Awesome. All right. Menu item spacing. No, I'm just poking stuff. Ah, nothing changed. Okay, so what am I?
We need to go into the fonts and make some adjustments to the layout there.
Am I still doing this in Twintig?
Yes. Yeah, you want to look at the page. Wait. Now I'm not so sure. What font? What font are we messing with here? Because it's the site identity, but where within the options are we going to really?
Is it site title?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's the one that we wanted. Let's make an adjustment with that. There we go.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted.
Ooh, boom. Okay, so then the next question is, can I cinch the menu up closer to the title and lose all of this empty space?
Scroll down just a little bit on the left. There may be. Do you have anything that says padding? Menu
fonts.
Font spacing. I'm not sure, but we may have to go through and adjust the.
I like that it'll let me capitalize and mess with them. Uppercase. Boom. I just love all caps. I don't know if they should both be all caps, but I do like it.
Okay, so so we're talking specifically about the spacing in between the menu and the site title text.
Yeah.
So go ahead and publish these changes because I don't see any options in the WordPress settings to make this change. So now we're going to jump into advanced WordPress theming.
Also, getting the welcome image closer to these without all of that dead air.
Yeah, we're going to see what we can do about that.
Am I hitting the X?
Go ahead and hit the X, and we want to just have just the website main page open. Yep. Perfect. Give this a second to finish thinking. So now let's figure out our spacing issues. So on your browser inside of Chrome, go ahead and hit the three-dot menu, and then we're going to open up some tools here. So within that menu, you want to go to More Tools and then click on Developer Tools.
What? I've never clicked. I've accidentally opened up this thing.
You're gonna learn some cool stuff right now. So
oh my God,
just
I'm so excited.
Just like you were visually editing WordPress before, we can actually go through and modify every aspect about our website in real time while looking at your website. So, for instance, every bit of the CSS values that exist, we can modify so that we can see exactly how they're going to apply. So using the Chrome developer tools, we'll be able to go through and identify the particular CSS elements that we want to adjust, make the adjustments, and see that display happen in real time inside of Chrome. All of the edit options that you're looking at right there, you can double click on and edit. And in real time, it's going to adjust that inside the browser page. So we'll be able to identify the CSS elements, apply the code that we want to use, and then copy that back into WordPress and make those changes. So in particular, I think the spacing issues that we're looking at is for the site title. Let's see. And something either surrounding that or the site branding. One of them is going to be applying some sort of top margin or header padding. And once we kill that, I'll be good. All right, so.
I don't think I know enough what to be looking for to.
Not a problem. That's why I am here.
I scrolled and I didn't see anything that seemed like what I was looking for, but I could have looked right over it.
Okay, so we have your website, okay? I've got this open up in Chrome. It's pretty similar. Both browsers have the developer tools, but another cool option that we can do is actually just right-click, and then we're going to go to Inspect Element, okay? So now I've pinpointed exactly what we want to be.
Oh, hold on. You're doing it over here. I was still staring at my screen. You've got you stole the share screen. Okay, then I've missed a bunch of stuff.
Oh man, I just did the same thing. So I'll do that again for you. So inside of the browser, there's another option where when we're on the page, we can actually right-click the element and go to Inspect, which will open up the Developer Tools Inspector, which is the same thing as the Developer Tools that you had open. Now, in particular, I clicked on the home icon, which is under the primary menu container. So looking through here, we're just kind of checking for what is the parent container, which I think is this guy here. Okay, so this is where all of our margins are existing. So if we go ahead and modify this to say 2, it moves up. Say 0. Looks like this is applying the padding all around. So we've got padding there, and then we might even have something giving a padding after this as well. So there may be two places that we have to go through and modify or specify a 0 pixel margin or padding on here. But fun part about all of this is even though this is your site, I can go through and make all of these changes to other colors and anything that I want and see what those are going to look like without actually being signed into the admin side of your account. You can actually even modify the content. So like I can make this just my website, just go ahead and edit this as HTML. This is no longer Heather's website. This is Roger's website.
Aw, we've got such a pretty website.
And then click off of there. It's mine now.
RogerWebsite.com.
And we just refresh that and it goes away. So it looks like on my browser it doesn't look bad. On here I see that spacing, and I'm wondering if it's because we're hiding the
Yeah, that giant Heather Shealer from earlier.
Yeah. So there's some content primary, but something in between the two right here is spacing out. I wonder if it's, so it's masthead. Okay. Here's all your custom style preferences that you went through and made. They're all listed there.
Nice.
With min. Let's hit customize. There's got to be something that we're looking for that I'm missing here, because we should absolutely be able to adjust the the options on this. But if all else fails, we do have the additional CSS options, which will take care of that. Header padding. That's better.
Also, because we're working on something that says Heather a lot, header is how kids say Heather. And so every time you say header padding or header anything, it translates in my brain as Heather. My brain just accepts like, yes, this is what we're talking about. I'm like, no, it's a different thing. It is header.
So there's the option inside of here for the padding on this, but again, it's small adjustments, and I think we're gonna find if we go back and look at the menu, it's gonna be probably something similar. If there's no even options to customize that further, so that's fun.
Okay.
So okay, I'm gonna leave that as is so that we don't get too caught up on that one little detail. But
yeah,
I think we have a phenomenal start, a phenomenal homepage.
Whoa, Heather Shearer is giant at the bottom. Was it
looks like it applied it? It looks like it copied the site title text to the bottom. So I'm gonna hand this back over to you now.
Okay.
Go ahead and close your developer tools, and let's build a custom footer.
Cool. Am I going back into customize?
Yes, you are. And then we're going to be going back into the twintig options and then footer options so that we can further adjust that there.
Okay. All right. I am in footer options. Oh. Cool.
Just turn that off. There's an option that says I think credits, or it should be in there. Credit. Default. Change that to custom, and then it's going to clear out that box there. Go ahead and where it says custom credit, type in just your name, since that's also the name of your website. Makes things easier.
Yeah.
Boom. Much better. Hit publish, and then I think it takes care of one page, doesn't it?
Oh, you know what? I want to do that little, it's saying to display the current year, but why? Right? Is that what? Ooh. Yeah.
Maybe you want to add a little dash in between your name and the year. Personal stylization preference, but yeah.
Sweet.
Just like that. Perfect.
I can get the little copyright logo in front of it or whatever.
I mean, if you wanted to.
Do that. I'm trying to think of what they look like. Okay, what are we up to now?
Well, we've got your main landing page done, but that still leaves about, blog, and contact us all pretty much blank.
Yeah.
So we probably want to add, or just at least edit some of the content inside of there, just to clean it up a little bit. And then we also have some of your sub pages that need to be created.
Yeah.
But your homepage.
I don't have a blog. I have portfolio and projects.
Okay, so we can go ahead and edit those by removing those pages. So let's exit out of the theme customizer for now. Make sure you're happy with your homepage.
Yeah, once we get that done, it'll be, and then yeah, all the little tweaks on there, but it's good enough for now.
Awesome.
Am I doing this one?
Dashboard, yep. Go and click on pages. All pages. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and just did you say you don't have the About Us page? Or
I have about, let me just real quick. I should have just left it up earlier. I thought I would remember off the top of my head what I have. I'm pretty sure I have home, about, projects, and my slow internet is pulling it up.
I think this part's going to be pretty quick because it's just going to be mostly resizing those images, getting them uploaded, and then just creating the page just like you did with the home page. And so you're already pretty familiar with that process, so it should go pretty quickly. Should being the key word there.
Oh my goodness, internet, please do me a solid. Just need to look at it.
I just removed that because I'm bad at this. So I just want to bring this up because I think you did an awesome job of your branding board. And this is what I was talking about earlier when I was saying like the hex codes and having those handy makes the design of everything easy because you don't have to think about anything. You already know what it's supposed to look like because you can see the finished result as part of that like branding guidelines, which is really helpful. I try to create one of these for like every website that I do, but I can tell you how many of those times that I've actually done that successfully because the moment that I start actually building it, I end up changing literally everything that I started with, and then it's completely different from what it was supposed to be when I designed the branding guides to begin with.
Well, you see everything sitting next to each other, and you're like, oh, actually, this looks horrible, and this looks really good.
Suddenly I'm not a fan of that font anymore. You know, happens way too often.
Yeah, like it looked fine for this word and it looks really stupid for this other word. Oh my goodness. Okay. It's not letting me load. So let me try to look at this teeny tiny thumbnail. Home, about, portfolio, projects, and contact. And then under portfolio and projects, I have pages, sub pages.
Okay, so we're just gonna need to recreate those here.
Okay. So am I deleting
Yeah, we
like
can just
tracking some stuff?
go ahead and trash everything you're not gonna need, because we can always create it again.
Um, all right. So am I doing the add new again?
Yeah, we're gonna be adding a new page. Unless you want to start with editing the About Us page.
No, it's fine. We can just make all of the blank pages.
I mean, I'm making up everything as I go along anyway, so.
Perfect.
Now, just so I can get prepared here, do you know what image you're gonna want or need for this page?
This is going to be the portfolio page. So it's going to be those in the web assets, the round icons, the buttons with the header overlaid on it.
Got it. I'm just gonna download that whole folder then.
And hopefully they'll be smaller. Can't remember. And then, yeah, they'll go. I guess I'll add in my columns. Okay, so now would I use the 50-50 if I wanted to have a nice little square of these images? Am I going to be able to space them apart into those two columns?
You should be able to space them once they're in the column.
Okay.
If you're talking about like having an image on the left, the text on the right type of thing, then it should do that just fine. We should be able to center them as well as align them like left to right within the column itself.
Okay, yeah, the text is going to go over top of it, which when I was building this in Wix, I applied it. I don't know how that would work over here, or if I need to add it to the image itself.
So there's that on the right side there. You see where it says default and overlap. So there's some styles that you can apply to the column to accomplish what you're asking.
Okay. So then, did I want to click overlap before I hit, do it on this?
Probably. Because I think that's just adding it for just the one block.
Oh, how do I? Oh, go away, go away.
Okay, back to blank. Okay, so on that, go on the right side, you have it on page, change the tab to block at the top.
There we go.
And then select your block. Maybe click the heck.
I know, it was there before.
I totally saw that. So
I goofed it.
Try clicking in between the two columns. There you go. I was just gonna say.
Oh.
That's fine.
That's weird.
So scroll down a little bit. I'm sure that's just giving us more options for those on that right column. Yeah. So 2 columns, column stacking. Only visible on the live page. So this is going to be interesting. So
I can also just go in and add the text to the buttons, so the image itself has that text on it. If that's better.
That's no fun. Let's see if we can get this to work.
We have 15 minutes.
We're almost there. So let's go ahead and add the add one of the buttons. We'll start with that.
All right. Is this what I do? Do I add block? Okay.
Click add block and then image.
And did you already upload them into the media library, or do I need to?
I did. They should be there for you.
All right. I can't remember which one I had first. Oh, 4. I numbered them. Number 1. Boom.
Now I did just upload them as the full size. So inside that dialog, where the scroll bar is, if you go down just a little bit, oh, it's not there. Never mind. I lied to you. Just go ahead and select it, and we can adjust it with formatted images later. So.
Okay, so then if I want to resize this, is there a way to set the dimensions so I know for a fact I'm getting the other ones the exact same?
You see on the right side there where it says image dimensions? That's where you can.
Oh, over here. Yeah, over here, of course. I'm like looking at all of the options over the button. I'm just no. Let's do what 200 looks like. I thought it would change it on both of them. I can't get them to
try just hitting the down arrow and see if it adjusts it for nope.
No. Ooh. Well, I want 60%. That's probably fine.
Yeah, trying to find all of this and get everything working within the default options within WordPress is always kind of my goal, just because you know, it simplifies the maintenance of the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, now you just got to get sized exactly the same as the other one.
All right, I think this is the one that goes on top. You know what? It doesn't matter where they go. I'm the only one who cares. Okay. Medium. 50%? Nope. 75%? Yep. Okay. How do I get it to be side by side? It's staggering them.
Well, because you put this in the. Were you trying to put this in the same place as the other one?
Like no, because I want there to be. They're going to make a square, so it's just going to be a 2x2 set of.
Go ahead and click preview on the page real quick. I want to open this in the new tab. I want to see what happens here, because it said that it was going to overlap those two columns in the beginning, and it said that it's only going to apply that in the live view. So I want to make sure that we're seeing a true representation of that page is going to look like when we're done. Because right now, I don't necessarily know if it's doing what we want. Yeah, see?
No.
I think you don't want the overlapping circles, possibly. Or the overlapping columns.
Yeah. How can I get that whole thing? Ooh.
Oh, you had it.
I had it for a second.
You had it. It's frustrating. So change that back to default. Yeah.
Okay.
Now wait, did you want to overlap the text within that on top?
I want the text to go on top of each of them, just like they're buttons. They're just buttons I designed.
Ah. Well, there's a couple ways we could do this.
Okay.
We could do it in HTML by just adding a HTML block and then sourcing the images and then putting the text over that as the background. That's the first option that comes to mind. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's something a little bit easier. But I think for now, let's just get the put the content with the image, just so we have an idea of what it needs to be laid out as. So let's get the other two images in there, and then put at least the text next to the image, and then we can adjust it into a button afterwards.
Okay. So how do I add an image below? Do I need to add another set of columns?
Yes.
Ugh, this is jumping around. Okay.
I'm trying to just think of a couple different ways that we can present that.
That's the one I haven't used yet, right? I used it twice.
Drag.
Curses! I thought I remembered grabbing a different number. Womp womp. Okay, replace. Oh, helpful. So it's that one. Right. Done.
So there's the option to link that, but not really to have it as a separate layer.
What happened? Where'd they go? Oh.
It's just thinking.
Nope. No, be centered. That's not centered. You're not centered. You're lying to me. There we go. It was like, sure. All right.
We've got your box of images.
And see the stems of Heather. It's a continuous image between the two of them. So I was like, I want to make sure I get them in the right places.
I love the artistic design that you put into there. So when you originally conceived of this, you had the text overlaying on those images?
Yes. And I had it, let me see if I can pull up that site, because I can't remember if I had made the text white on top of those, or if I had gone for the darker salmon.
Now, while it is going to be possible to do that with inside of CSS, I think for ease of use, it may be quicker if you wanted to just adjust those images to have the text included on there and then link the images.
Okay.
That'd be the fastest way to sort of accomplish it, and then we can do a deeper dive into making these really elaborate custom buttons later.
Okay.
Because what we can actually do is, because each one of these is a layer, so we could specify the background element as the code for the color, so that what's actually loading is essentially a block, and then your header would just be the PNG layered on top of that. So rather than loading in the circle image and everything, we would designate a circle block in CSS, we would fill it with the color code, and then we would fill it with the image, and then on top of it we put your text. So it is possible to actually recreate this entirely in code and everything. But what we run into is just the amount of time that it's going to take us to build that out is just a little bit more than we have for today. So the quickest shortcut is just generating the text onto those buttons and uploading them, and then linking the images themselves, because that's going to accomplish the same thing. It's going to look just as good, but we can always come back around through and improve them with the code buttons later.
Okay. Are you saying to pull out my iPad and do that right now, or are we just going to move on to the next thing?
We're just going to move on to the next thing.
Okay, good.
Because we got you in here, And so when we started in this, I mean, it's been years since you've interacted really with WordPress. A lot has changed, and the hardest part is actually just getting that first step of customization. At this point, you've got a site that has a completely functional homepage that looks great. You understand how to customize most of the aspects of the whole website. I mean, I'm pretty confident that you sit there and play with it a little bit longer, you'll be able to. It's got so loud.
I'm sorry. My microphone's like, that's an important noise. You need to
So
know.
important. Okay, so in just real quick again, in review, we started with pretty much nothing, a blank WordPress website. We were able to fully customize it, apply your branding, your theme, and your fonts, as well as build up a couple custom layouts for your pages. Now, is there anything that you're thinking about with your layout where you're just like, I just don't know how to do this? I mean, that's something that we can dive into. But I think for the most part, as far as the block editor goes and building these pages, you've got this down perfectly.
Well, it's a very logical system. They've made it easy to navigate and things make sense. Like I feel like I could poke around and get the basics. I don't know anything with CSS or HTML, unfortunately. I know how to make things bold in HTML, and that's that's about the extent. Back in my live journal days.
But that's part of what makes WordPress so substantially good at what it does is it makes it so that you don't have to know HTML and CSS to build a beautifully captivating website like we did today. And I think like that's constantly why I go back to it, and it's the biggest reason why it powers so many websites is because of that ease of use, because it's so easy to adapt to what you want it to become. Like it's just wonderful. I think the only so this is the portfolio page. We got the images in the columns. Is there any other layouts that you want to explore in the last couple minutes that we have scheduled for this show?
Is there, I mean, I guess the gallery. I would like to see, is there something where I can have the gallery of images you can kind of shift through and then open up and see the full image, but it just kind of gives you a little sample of it beforehand? Is that a widget option or anything?
I think that should be it should be a block option.
Okay.
WordPress has always been pretty good about having some sort of gallery. So if you just scroll down and add a new block, I guarantee it. Yeah, if you just type in gallery, you have two options to even pick from. So you'll have a stacked gallery as well as a gallery.
What's I guess I'll just click one.
I'm not really sure what the difference is yet, but we'll figure that out together. I'm assuming we probably need to throw in a couple images, but yeah,
I'm just gonna I'm gonna leave the 2020 in the media library and not.
we're
not
gonna leave the dumpster fire in 2020.
Insert gallery. Yeah, so all of these are going to link to like pet portraits, digital art, traditional art, logos, and then stacked gallery.
So I think that you probably have some options as far as what we can make it appear as, but I think stack gallery just stacks them. If you go to the right side, which is where we see all of our options in here, I think you scroll up just a little bit more. We get some options. So
Scroll.
the images, yeah. So you got an option to round the corners, which I mean, for your rounded images, I'm sure it's going to do a whole lot there.
Well, most of the stuff in my portfolio is actually, 5x7. Sure.
Sure. The biggest one that I think is going to be handing, if you go to the right side there, scroll down just a little bit to gallery settings, you'll see columns. Go ahead and bring that to 3. And let's see if it auto lays everything out. And we lost our preview because it shrunk the page. There we go. So that's kind of handy. It just, stuck those images into a quick little gallery. And that was the stacked gallery, right?
Yeah, I want to see what happens if they're. I want to try clicking on them.
I think the default behavior, I believe, is to just open the image in a larger size.
Like a pop-up or a new window or.
It should. it may just do like a lightbox effect, or it will do nothing at all. So
I need to turn on that setting. Okay, so let's check out the other option. I'm just gonna have the most jumbled page here. Let's add a new gallery.
that's how you learn, is through experimentation and testing things and seeing how it looks and adjusting it. All right, so
This is what I
there we
like,
go.
getting these slices. This is what I was going for, because I really, really like the, like, oh, you theoretically want to click on it to see more.
And that's your option too, is that you have the link to text. You can select none, and then if you click down to the details, you can change media file or what have you. And I believe you should be able to link the individual pictures with customized post pages or what have you.
Cool, with their names and everything.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be back into WordPress. I missed it. And it's really beefed up. I love all of the new stuff. It makes me just want to go make a million web pages.
That's kind of how I was looking at it. Is there's just
Yes. Ooh.
so many things that it was doing that just sort of really changed how I felt about it. I mean, WordPress has always been a phenomenal blogging platform, but they've really come a long way as far as becoming a substantial website builder. And I definitely think that they have probably the industry standard as to what this is supposed to look like. The ease of use and the accessibility into all of this is just absolutely phenomenal. It seems like every time that I start building out a website, regardless of what the end result's supposed to be, I always end up going with WordPress because it's so easy to set up. Because, like, at the end of the day, we can always go through and change it to something else later. But the important thing is to be able to get it up there and get it to look good. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very excited to start poking around and to start working more with you to learn all the rest of this stuff.
There is so much, like we've already like barely even scratched the surface of what's possible. I mean, just the idea that you can take WordPress, for instance. It's got this massive database that makes everything work behind it, right? When you write a post, it saves it to the database, and you receive the post when you look at the page. But you can extend that to even further and have custom post types, and then have actions happen automatically when you submit a custom post type. Like, you can do so much on that automation side as far as scheduling posts. Like, if you're building out a really comprehensive blog for yourself, and you want to take a 3-month vacation, you don't really want to think about blogging, but you want to keep that content consistent, you can schedule all of those posts ahead of time, which is super handy. And just little things like that. There's such a diverse and elaborate community that's really large behind WordPress, that every time that I've always been like, hey, I wonder if I could do this thing, somebody's already created a plugin. And while it may not necessarily be the best plugin, it's still functionally sound. And that's what's important. And I think that's what makes WordPress so great, is like the extensibility, the community, and the fact that we can come back to this years later and have an entirely different feel of what WordPress is and a different opinion of it entirely than when we started. I think that shows quality improvement in their software updates and their design, and really the community behind it.
Yeah, I love it. Yay, WordPress.
So I'm glad that we were able to make the time to make this happen. I'm really happy with what we were able to build today. I hope that you learned a lot. We got a lot of people jumping in and just kind of checking it out on the stream, which is good. And
awesome.
Yeah, I just it's fun. I love building websites. I love getting that, like, an instant gratification of seeing it done and like looking at it, but more so being able to take that link and say, hey, I built this. Like, that's super exciting. And
yeah,
it doesn't go away. Like, every time that I get a website that goes live and I get to send that link out and say, hey, look at this thing that I put together, it's a good feeling. Before we go, there's one more thing that I want to point out to you that is actually extremely important for the appearance of your website when it comes to sharing. So if you go back to where it says add new page, And then on the right side, scroll up so that we're looking at the page options here. So the top there, go back to page. And scroll down because everything's scrolling around here. So featured image right there. This is what may actually be one of the most important things that doesn't get mentioned, I think, enough. When you post a link to your website or any page on your website, the platform that you're posting it to by default is looking for a featured image. If it does not find that, it's going to use the first available image it finds on your web page, which can have some negative unattended results if the first image is not formatted for social media. So you want to have something there. Anything that's in your featured image, when you post this to Facebook, to Twitter, to anything, that's what's going to show up. That's the preview image that the link is going to load. And so like that's super important to remember, because like if you don't put anything in there, it doesn't format as well when you share it. So I just wanted to point that out to you, because like it is such an important thing.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that was something you had the power to change. I just assumed it was, luck of the draw.
It gets even better. I have a plugin installed on your site called Yoast SEO. So if you scroll down just a little bit scroll to the bottom of your page here, left side there. Yep. Scroll up a little bit. And so right there, you'll see the results of what this is going to look like in Google. Now, you see the text box that you have in there and the title and everything. You scroll up just a little bit. Nope. So scroll down. The excerpt and the title, you have full control to modify. And when anybody sees this on anywhere, it's going to show up. Now, the other place that does show up is page excerpt as well. But you are in full control. The plugins that we built and deployed to your website completely enable that. So as you can see, the first website that we're loading is the round image. Now, if you go, and just for an example, click on Set Featured Image, and then select your welcome image, and then Set Feature Image, that's going to change to your featured image automatically.
Nice. And I could even create a version of it that has enough padding that it doesn't get cut off when turned into a square.
Yes, and you can actually, both Twitter and Facebook have developer pages that you can paste the link to your website, and it will show you everything on how it's going to look like ahead of time. Let me show you that real quick. So,
we have a question. Can we load a GIF as a featured image?
I believe you actually can.
I gotta start making GIFs.
That's something that I've seen is you can actually, there's some sites, including Facebook, where you can actually upload an animated GIF as your profile picture. So I'm going to show one thing here real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. So I just want to point out, this is the developer, Facebook developer page, which allows you to do a preview. So you can paste in any link here, and it's going to tell you the last time that it was scraped, the response code from the server. So if this is anything other than 200, you typically have a problem. 404, it can't find the page or any other items, as well as like extending the URL if it's just shortened URL. But here's what's important. This is what it's going to look like when this link gets posted to Facebook. It's pulling the preview image, the text from the page, as well as our excerpt that we created. So WordPress does a lot of the heavy lifting for SEO, and a lot of that is just making sure that your metadata is filled out correctly. And Yoast makes it easy to go through and see what that preview looks like, so that when you're looking at this and when it gets posted or shared, it comes out looking great. And ultimately, that's what we want. So that's all the time we have for this live show today. But I had a lot of fun. We did a lot of cool things, and we learned a lot. So we'll be back again next Wednesday. At least I will be. Heather, you're welcome to join me again if you want to do some more. But I completely understand if you've had enough design for the month here.
Never enough design. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for having me on and helping me with my website. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, yeah. It was. We'll have to do it again sometime. So I'll be being back again this time next week on Web Wednesday, and then one of the things that we can also do too is start cutting up some of the content and making these shorter videos, and just pushing those out to YouTube and Twitter as well. Just doing the individual tasks as breaking down the video, like how do we customize a WordPress header, and things that you learned today are also things that we can go through as individual lessons. And part of what I love about technology is it's always a learning experience because it's always changing. So, Heather, thank you so much for joining me, and I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream now. And have a good night.
Thanks so much. Good night.
Bye.